Hello, this is Bruce Berickman. Along with me are other neutrals at Bay Mediation that have performed and conducted video conference mediations. We also have staff members that help keep the office running. The purpose of this video is to give you a general idea of how video conference mediations are conducted. When we receive a notice that someone wants to participate in the video conference mediation, we send by email an invitation to all of the participants, and I want Scott Hoffman to talk with you about how that invitation system works. Scott?
Thank you, Bruce. Once you receive the invitation, there's an option to accept it, and then once that's done, it will also list the time of the mediation, and it'll have a link to zoom.us and to the meeting. You can click on the link, and then you'll be prompted to download some software from zoom.us and simply attend the meeting that way. If for some reason your security system doesn't allow you to download the software from Zoom, you can simply enter through your browser. You'll find a prompt on the page on zoom.us. And once you have entered, you'll be placed in a waiting room, and eventually, and then the host will bring you in.
Okay. And the important thing to know about entering by a browser is that you do not have to download the software to enter by browsers. And for those people that work at businesses that do not allow you to download software, it makes it to where you can attend the video conference without having to do that. And that's important for insurance company representatives and those types of people. When everybody gets into the video conference mediation, they will essentially look like this. Everybody will be on the screen, and what we will have done is set up breakout rooms. And here's what the breakout rooms would look like. I've assigned people to all of the breakout rooms. Basically, people affiliated with the plaintiffs would be in one breakout room. If there are two defendants, we'd set up two defendant breakout rooms. And if there's a UM carrier, we'd have a UM carrier breakout room. And I have assigned people to all of those breakout rooms, but they haven't been put into the breakout rooms yet. And in the opening session, what we would do is discuss the agreement to mediate. And I would like Scott Young to talk with you about the agreement to mediate.
Good morning. I'm sure everybody's wondering, how do we deal with documents at the mediation when we're all over the country or in different locations? The confidentiality agreement that we have, or the agreement to mediate, some of the courts have their own sets of forms that have to be actually signed by the litigants and parties. What we'll do most of the time is we'll go into the document section, a share screen. We'll simply share with the participants the agreement to mediate or the document that needs to be executed. Here's an example. We can do this for as many documents as necessary. But what typically would happen then, everybody would have an opportunity to discuss the document with their client and be sure they understand the terms. The Gwinnett County forms, the Cobb forms, all those are a little bit different. So I only put one of them up here. But then at the end, after everybody has agreed or has reviewed the agreement to mediate, we'll ask people to enter into the chat room or chat box on their screen and simply say that I agree with the terms and conditions of the agreement. It's a pretty simple process, and it should be one that everybody can execute, and we'll have agreement signed. And if your client's not present and you're a plaintiff or a defendant, we would just ask the attorney to sign the person's name with express permission. Court documents, we would have the authorization from you to sign their name to the court document saying who participated, etc.
After we've gone over the agreement to mediate and people have agreed on that, either before or after, what we would do would be put everyone into their breakout rooms, and the mediator would have a pre-opening session discussion or meeting with each of the individuals in the breakout rooms. And what I would like is for Victor Fienza to talk about what would be done in those pre-opening session meetings.
I take that opportunity to meet with both rooms as I would if we were in person, and I go into each rooms. maybe get to know folks that I don't know as well, say hello again, ask the lawyers or anyone else in the room who wants to share if there are any issues that we need to talk about beforehand, if there's anything they want to let me know beforehand that they think might be helpful to the process and to me in getting the case settled. Just the same things you would normally talk about. Sometimes folks want to give me a thumbnail of the case. Sometimes folks want to talk about issues of outside influences, whatever it is that they might want to talk about. So it's just typically a pre-mediation meeting like you'd have in person, but we do it online, and it's fantastic.
Now, Jim Stewart, everybody after the pre-opening session meetings would be brought back into the joint session. And if you could talk with the people about how the opening joint session would be handled.
Once we bring everyone back in together, what we can do is I will usually explain to them that at the bottom of the screen is the share screen, which we've already seen Scott Young use for the agreement. If they will pop on that, they will see that it goes to lots of different documents that they can utilize, whether it's a PowerPoint, photographs. It gives them access to their Safari or internet. It gives them access to mailboxes, even their iPhone, iPad, and Word documents. So what they can do is choose what they want to show. If they do a PowerPoint, or if they just have photographs or medical documents, they can click on those and they can show them to everyone in the room. And they can go through them in any order that they like. They can go back to them. They can move them around. It's really very easy and really quite logical, even for old folks who haven't done this kind of thing before. I think they'll find it very logical and relatively easy once they have a very brief understanding.
Thank you, Jim. And again, what would happen is once the opening session is concluded, people would go back they would be in this session like this. And after the opening session is completed, everybody's made their presentation. The neutral has said whatever he or she wants to say to the participants. Then we'd go into breakout rooms. And as I've shown you, we've set up 4 breakout rooms. And what I would like now is for Marcy Joel to explain to you how the breakout rooms work. And then we'll go into breakout rooms to show you how they work from inside the breakout room. Marcy?
So breakout rooms are actually a wonderful option for us to use in Zoom. What it allows us to do is break the different groups, plaintiffs, defendants, even if we want to just get attorneys together in one room, into different rooms, the same way we would if we were on site at Bay, where we'd have the different parties in different rooms. While you're in the different breakout room, only the people that are in that room will be able to see and hear you. In that room, the same way you could in the main room, you're able to share documents, chat, and even call the mediator into the room. There's going to be, at the bottom, there'll be an ask for help. That will send an automatic message to the mediator asking them to come join you in that room. The great part about the breakout room is that nobody else can enter your room without the mediator's permission. So it's really a secure room the same way it would be if we were on site.
Thank you, Marcy. I appreciate that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how the breakout rooms actually function. And as you can see from here, I have the breakout rooms set up. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to open all of the rooms. And what you'll see is that each participant is going to disappear from the screen, and what that means is they're entering the breakout rooms. So I'm going to open all the breakout rooms at this point and ask people to join their respective breakout rooms, and all they have to do is click on join breakout room, and they'll be assigned to the proper breakout room. And I'm going to do that right now. It appears that Michael Braun has not gone into a breakout room, but let me check and see. Michael has not gone into a breakout room. There he goes. He's gone now. The only thing left is a telephone, and that's just someone is participating by telephone and video conference, which you can do. And I'm going to go into a breakout room now so you can see how that works. And I'm going to join the plaintiff's breakout room. And typically what I would do is send them information that, or send them a message that says I'm going to be entering their breakout room, so they'll know I'm going to join the breakout room and they won't be surprised by that and won't be saying bad things about me when I'm entering the room. Okay, now I've entered the plaintiff's breakout room, and just as Marcy said, the only people that can communicate with each other from this breakout room are the participants in the breakout room and the neutral, for instance, me, as far as that goes. And I guess Marcy or someone, if you could talk and just let us know, okay, you can hear each other and talk with each other within the breakout room. Just tell me about that.
So before you even entered, the three of us were having a conversation, and we can tell even from looking down at the bottom of our screen participants, how many participants are in our room, and that it was just the three of us. We would also be able to chat or share documents, and nobody would be able to see that until you entered the room. Then obviously we could share it with you.
Okay, and then as far as sharing documents, you can share them with each other. You can share with them with me. There's also there's a file that allows you to send me and other people documents that we can download and review. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. And as a matter of fact, you can even choose within whatever room you're in who specifically, if you want to share it just with one person or if you want to share it with everyone in the room.
And as far as the chat function, you can actually chat with individuals within your breakout room if you do not, because we're not always going to be, everybody's not always going to be together. It may be they're at their home, their office, whatever, and you can share a chat with an individual person or two people without the other people knowing. Is that right?
You can share a chat either with everyone that's in your room or with one other individual in the room.
Okay. Well, I wanted to show people how this worked, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave this breakout room and return. And now I'm back in the main room, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open all of the breakout rooms and allow people to come back in. And you'll see them enter or show on the screen as they enter the room. All right, everybody's back in now, and what has happened is the mediator would go into each breakout room. The only people that would be able to hear the mediator would be the participants in that particular breakout room. The mediator would move from breakout room to breakout room throughout the day, just like you normally would when you were having a mediation in person. If they wanted to share documents with the mediator, they could. And so you could have a back and forth discussion, both documents and by video conference, and everyone in the breakout room could hear just like you hear me right now. And what we've done is we actually have reached a settlement, and we've brought everybody back into the joint session. And what we're going to do now is we're going to decide, and we're going to prepare a settlement memo to memorialize the settlement, and we'll have everybody look at the prepared settlement memorandum. If they need to go back into their breakout rooms to discuss whether they want modifications or changes made to the settlement memo, they can go back into their breakout room, discuss that. If they want to ask the mediator to participate in that discussion, they can send a message to the mediator, and the mediator can go into the into the breakout room and discuss those changes. And once everybody has agreed on the settlement memo, or if there needs to be further discussions with everybody, we can bring people back into this joint session, and then we'd have the settlement agreement. Now, what I want Valerie Tobin to do is talk about what we do and how we handle the settlement agreement once it's agreed upon.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Once the parties have agreed, the mediator will, as Bruce said, fill out the base settlement memorandum form, which we typically do in our on-site mediations at Bay. This document will then be shared on the screen with the parties so they can review it and make any of the changes or additions. And the parties will give their acceptance to this agreed upon settlement memorandum by using the chat feature of the video conference. And then they will give their consent to the mediator to sign their names to the settlement memorandum with express permission. So it's a fairly straightforward, easy process. And I might add that you haven't had to leave your office to get your case settled, which is a great thing at this time.
And that concludes our video. And one thing we need to let you know is we're prepared and set up to provide training to anyone that wants additional training. Just let us know, and we'll set up a time where we can meet with you and show you a little bit more about the video mediation process and make you feel more comfortable about that. I will tell you, we've had several video conference mediations, and we have had great success at that. It works very well. And just as Valerie said, you can participate without having to come to the facilities, and I'm sure people won't mind not driving through Atlanta traffic. And particularly at this time, everyone's concerned about being exposed to the coronavirus. You can participate in video conference mediations without that fear, and that's very important at this particular time. I hope everyone has enjoyed and found this video to be useful. Goodbye and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.